Thanks for coming by and checking out Pete's Snakebite Kit YouTube channel again. Hey, fly. There's flies in my garage. Anyway, thanks for coming by and checking this out. This is about Pete building a Cobra and just Cobra car building Ford related stuff. So stay tuned. Let's take a look at the progress. So what we'll talk about today is the progress we've made with the parts I have gotten and been able to put on and so on. So we're in the middle of some things. Also, I'm going to talk about some questions I got from viewers. I try and respond to every single comment that I get, and some of them I think are worth addressing on the channel, so we're going to do some of that today too. So the wall you've been probably gotten used to looking at of stuff I need, stuff I'm waiting for. Ordered a drive shaft a long time ago from Denny's Drive Shaft. It's here. We're going to take a look at the drive shaft. Ordered some more odds and ends from Hurricane that they were delayed on for whatever reason. There's a hydraulic brake light switch. Got it. I got the hood scoop when I got the car, but the hood was drilled and the scoop wasn't. They came up with a jig where they can match that, so they sent me a hood scoop that the holes are drilled in. So we got a hood scoop that's ready to go on. We got some radiator brackets. They had an updated radiator bracket. Those are here. I got the shifter lever for it. We're going to look at that and talk about why does this shift lever look so funny in a Cobra. So we got that. The shift boot is still on terminal back order. Nobody has the right one. Collector gaskets I didn't get, and so on. So that's where we're at on parts. Like I say, the list of stuff I need is getting smaller and smaller. Okay, so I went over the build when I first started this video of the engine transmission combination I was using, and had some viewers ask about some details on that. So let's talk about transmission for a minute. So the original big block 427 cars came with a Ford top loader. A great transmission, very, very heavy duty. Had those in a couple of Mustangs that I've had. They're a very strong transmission. They're getting pretty rare. It's not the smoothest shifting transmission you've ever pulled a gear on. They're heavy, heavy duty parts. Kind of, it was actually a truck transmission to start with. So, but I'm not using that because I wanted a 5-speed, and the parts for this are getting very hard to find. So I wanted to go with a TKO 5-speed, a Tremec. That's what's in a bazillion hot rods out there. It's a very popular transmission and very heavy duty transmission. They say it's rated up to 600 pound-feet of torque, which I'm below that. And so that's what I got. This was sitting in my garage for about 4 months when they announced the Tremec TKX, which will tolerate higher RPM shifts than a TKO, and it's their updated one. I thought, that's interesting. Well, now I see what's happened. This has replaced this. So I didn't want an obsolete transmission, so I bought a modern one, and I have an obsolete transmission. I mean, there's still a bunch of those out there. If I ever have problems, I'm sure I can get that thing fixed. But the TKX apparently is a really good transmission. They are saying it will accept shifts up to 7,500 RPM. Well, I'm not going there on this engine, so we're okay. I see more and more Cobras built with an automatic transmission. Personal preference thing, as you guys know, I'm trying to build a car that not just replicates a Cobra, but replicates the driving experience of a Cobra. There were only 2 made back in the area, maybe a couple other developed back in the era with automatic transmissions, and those were the crazy super snakes with a big block and 2 Paxton blowers and so on. I didn't choose to go with one because of that. I actually enjoy driving a stick shift car. I bought modern cars on purpose with a stick shift and so on. But hey, if there's some reason you need one, I've talked to guys that have a bad left knee. Clutching one of these things isn't going to get along well with you if you've got a bad left knee, and on and on and on. The shift lever. So I got that. That had been on back order for a long time. Hurricane finally got me that. Let's take a look at this shift lever for a minute. If you look at this shifter and you picture a mid-60s Mustang with an original shifter or a Galaxy, it would sit in the car this way, where you're actually pulling the gears that way. Because with a big block engine, it was longer, so it set farther back, which pushed the shifter further back. A 289 car, the shifter came out about here, so it didn't need that forward-facing shifter. With this one, what they did is they actually used the original shifter from a Mustang or a Galaxy and spun it forward. That's why it looks backward. You're probably wondering why I have a 5-speed transmission and I have a shift knob that says 4-speed. The reason is, I said this 100 times, I'm trying to replicate an original Cobra as much as I can. A. B, if you're building a Cobra and you need to look at the shift knob to figure out what to do, there's a problem. Okay, column 2, e-brake adjustment. I've looked at a lot of Cobras at car shows, as you can imagine. I have noticed that every e-brake on almost every single Cobra I've looked at is in one of two positions. It is either all the way down or it is pulled all the way up and nothing happened because there's an adjustment deal. The rear brakes on this are disc, but then it's got a parking brake shoe set up inside the rear disc, the ones from Wellwood. And I tried to get these all adjusted when I first put it together, and it was kind of tough. And I called Wellwood, and they said, yeah, they're tough to get adjusted right. So I tacked that, and I got it to where it looks like it's going to work pretty well. And we'll take a look at the e-brake here. I've mentioned a couple times I want to make this as close to the original driving experience and look of an AC Cobra. So I've got the AC pedal pad. So those are exact replicas, which Heat Tech fabricated, put onto the Wellwood pedals there. And these are, like I've mentioned before, they're floor mounted. They're not dash mounted. The parking brake, which we'll look at in a minute, will sit there right next to the passenger seat. It's not up here in the transmission tunnel. So what I'm not trying to build here is a Fox body Mustang that shortened the wheelbase to 90 inches. In other words, not dash-mounted pedals, not an e-brake in the middle of the car. So speaking of e-brakes, here we are. I've mentioned that I've mostly seen e-brakes on Cobras in 1 and 2 positions. One is here, the other is all the way up, and you can tell nothing happened. So, worked on this quite a bit, adjusting the rear brake shoes. So they're inside the rotor, and to get to them, pull the wheel off, pull the knockoff adapter off, pull the caliper off, then pull the rotor off, then you can get to the adjustment and so on. So it's a bit of work, but it's been a while getting the right and the left happy on here, and I think it'll work out well. What I think I'll do is once I get this thing going in dune buggy trim, is I'm just gonna, at low speed, just drag the rear brakes a little bit to kind of burnish them in and radius the shoes to the drums, and then I'll do one more adjustment before I permanent this body on, because this adjustment here is basically going to disappear because the body will be right here, and you're not really going to get 2 box hindrances in there and so on. I will still have this adjustment, and then of course the ones at the parking brake shoe. This brake setup comes as a kit. You cut these to length, then you cut the cables to length. These ended up frayed and kind of lethal looking with some really gnarly wires sticking out after I cut them. So put some heat shrink on them, which seems to be working pretty well to protect me from that. So just a side note, for my daytime job, I do training at dealerships with service advisors and kind of process development and customer follow-up and so on. And I tell them, all you have to do is tell the customer what you're going to do and then do it. If you do that, you will set yourself apart from everyone else they do business with. And you guys got to admit that's pretty true. Here's another exception. John's Industries. They do a fantastic job. They're the ones that Hurricane got the differential from. So the third member, the housing, the axles and all that came from, there's a fly back, came from John's Industries. Look at this. This is actually a bolt. Looks like a wheel stud, but it's a bolt that screws in from the back of the axle. The original ones I got were too long. And as this threads in, that bolt comes through. The original ones I had came out so far, these are the original lug nuts I got, that it was about to here. I mean, these are the same size. And so it was pushing the tool out as this threaded in. And one of these original ones I cracked because I was trying to tighten, not realizing what would happen. So had to get shorter ones on here. This is another spot where John's Industries took care of me. So there's the drive shaft installed. Cobras are a short wheelbase, the engine's set pretty far back. So it ends up with a very short drive shaft, as you can see. And where did I get that done at? Denny's drive shaft. And nice guys there. I talked to Denny there a couple times and talked me through the different options on these and so on. With the horsepower I'm using, this is going to be plenty strong enough. It's made out of DOM or DOM tubing. This thing's bulletproof. He says they guarantee the welds and all of that for life. Obviously not the U-joints. Those are a maintenance item. But when I got this, it was wrong because this is a 1350 U-joint. That's a 1350 U-joint. The pinion yoke wasn't. Now what do we do? When I ordered my Cobra from Hurricane, it comes with a 9-inch with third member posi axles, the whole thing, which is very nice. And they order all this stuff from John's Industries. I ordered the car with 370 rear end gear ratio. John's Industries was having quality issues from their supplier on 370s. They were noisy, so they didn't want to sell it that way, to their credit. What they did find after some waiting, they had this one set up with 360s in it, splitting hairs between 360s and 370s, I don't even care, and a better posi unit in it, a true track in it. And so I got that. Somehow in all of that shuffle, this ended up with a 1310 or 1330, I don't know, a smaller pinion yoke than the one I wanted and the one that matched the drive shaft. So John's Industries has a very simple solution. They're the same price. I'll just send you one. When you take that one off, send it back. In my opinion, that's just as good as customer service can get. I really appreciate the way John's Industries has treated me on getting me the right part there, getting me the right studs for the wheels and so on. That's the way to do business, guys. The last thing on the list here is a knockoff. You saw me taking that off of the wheel with the lead hammer. They go on and off very easily with that. And you probably know this, but some of them are reverse thread. So on the left side of the car, driver's side, left side, they are right-hand thread. On the right side of the car, the passenger side, they're a left-hand thread. That's easy for me to remember because it's backward, right? So anyway, just another little touch I put on the car to try and make it look like unoriginal. Just want to say thanks for checking out Pete's Snakebite Kit again. We covered a lot of stuff today. Hope you found that interesting. Starting to make some progress on this car. I'm going to make this engine start in a couple weeks. That's going to be a lot of fun, and you'll be here for that. And then I keep somebody's been writing on my board. Well, let's see what subscribe, like, ring the bell, ask me questions, make comments. I have found some people out there that are bigger Cobra nerds than I am, and I've learned a lot of stuff from the stuff people are writing in and telling me things and asking questions and so on. So thanks for watching. You guys stay safe out there. I'm looking forward to doing another one of these. Take care.